You've talked about gaining market share in 5G. I wonder, have you reset expectations for what you can achieve there? Just how strong do you expect that market share to become?
Thanks, Anna. It's great to be with you, and thank you for having me. If we take a step back and take a look at what we've achieved, now we're consolidating our leadership position in 5G. So we have now 136 agreements. We have 85 live networks in 42 countries. We're ranked highly by Gartner, for example, when they assess the 5G leadership. We're a leader in their Magic Quadrant. So strategically, we are doing really well on developing the business and growing our presence and strengthening our market position. And what you see is, and you're right, in Swedish krona, our sales were flat. But if we adjust for currencies, actually we had a 10% growth rate. So we are back in growth, and that really is on the back of a competitive product portfolio that allows us actually to gain footprint. And you know from our strategy, working on improving gross margin and working on strengthening our footprint has been a key driver of our turnaround. So that's where we are. Then 2021 is a year of investment, so we're taking significant investments. We're taking those in renegotiating our IPR contracts. We're taking those in investments in flexibility in our supply chain. We're strengthening our compliance programs. We're strengthening our security practices. So overall, we are taking quite significant investments this year while still growing our profitability.
Yeah. Good morning. What do you think of the recent UK expert panel's recommendation to the government that the British market should be made up of vendors that are at least 25% not Ericsson and Nokia?
It's an interesting development that we see. We think basically that the technology is a market that's well developed. It exists. And here, the best technology should win at the end of the day. That's going to give the consumer the best user experience, and it's going to give the consumer and basically the user the maximum output of the network. That's what I think the legislation should focus on. Then I understand it's getting to be a very consolidated market, so there will be need for other vendors, and those will come out. But I'm convinced that if we focus on driving technology on our side, we're going to provide our customers with the best possible solutions.
So it's all about so you say it's all about the product, Borje. Does the same apply in China? Clearly, there's been tension between China and many Western governments. The Swedish government banned Huawei, and then there was talk of perhaps you would be in the crosshairs of that geopolitics. Have you suffered in China as a result of that geopolitics? And I see that you report 78% sales in Northeast Asia, including China. I wonder if you could pull out the China thread for us.
So if you look, yes, our market area had a growth of almost 80% year over year. And most of that growth comes from non-China. And you know, we had a big contract win last year where we strengthened our market position significantly in China. We are continuing to deliver on those contracts, and those continue. Of course, there comes a new tender now in the next few months when that now will happen, that we, of course, want to work hard to strengthen our position as well. And we know that we need to be, China is a front-runner market together with North America in 5G. So we really need to invest to make sure that we can take a market position going forward as well.
How big a threat is the rise of virtual radio networks to your hardware sales? And what are you doing to respond about that?
You know, if you look at the whole cell phone industry, it is a miracle of openness. So even 3GPP that exists today, which is the global standard, is a very open standard. So you can have one vendor interoperable with another vendor, parts of the network working with another vendor. So there is an element of openness that's very big already here. Of course, the technology will go towards virtualization and cloud native. As you see, for example, our 5G core portfolio is fully cloud native. So that's a trend that we see, and we are investing to be a leader in that as well. Of course, that will drive our sales to be more software oriented. But as a matter of fact, the radios will continue to have an element of hardware that's going to be significant also going forward. it's basically physics. You still need to form a wave.
Let me ask you about, back to the politics a little, if you like, Borje, and how you navigate that. Have you spoken to the Biden administration? Do you sense any particular change in policy or change in expectation from your sector, from a change in their stance around Huawei, perhaps, from the previous administration that would then have an impact on you? How do you assess North America?
Of course, North America, it's a new administration coming in. They are in their early days still, and they need to form their view on many sectors, and it includes telecom. But what we hear and what we see so far seems to indicate that it's a relatively stable progress, building on what's been the case for the last few years. So I think in this case I like to say that we can concentrate on the things we can impact. This is something we can't impact. So let's work on instead having the right products, work with our customers. And if we do that successfully, we have the best chance of succeeding.